This moment, right here, matters to every single African. It matters even more to every Ivorian, especially now as Côte d'Ivoire heads to the polls to elect a new president or re-elect the old one. But before we talk about that election, let's revisit this moment that changed Côte d'Ivoirian life in a profound way. My name is DJ Bwakali, and Africa is my superpower. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Make this your home. If you're not yet a member of this channel, what are you waiting for? Make this your home. This is the moment when the world watched live on television as Laurent Gbagbo, the sitting president of Côte d'Ivoire, was arrested. This moment in April 2011 split a nation and still echoes across Africa today. To understand why this moment matters to you, to me, and to all of us, we need to put two other moments under the microscope. Moments separated by 14 years. In this moment, an arrest is taking place. The lady being arrested is Simone Gbagbo. She was arrested on the same day with her husband, the president. Fast forward 14 years later, and you have the second moment. This one took place just weeks ago, once called La Dame de Fer, the Iron Lady. She's now running for president herself. She's projecting herself as une mère pour la nation, mother of the nation. A woman who believes that our country now needs tenderness, unity, and moral repair after years of political vengeance. Standing beside her is Charles Blegodet, once Gbagbo's firebrand youth minister and the face of the Young Patriots movement, a man both feared and admired. In 2011, former President Gbagbo and Blegodet were accused of crimes against humanity: murder, rape, persecution, and other inhumane acts committed during Côte d'Ivoire's post-election crisis. This horrendous crisis left over 3,000 people dead in just 5 months. 3,000 people gone for good. Why? At the center of it all, a contested election between incumbent Laurent Gbagbo and his challenger Alassane Ouattara, a former IMF economist backed by France, the UN, and the West. Gbagbo refused to concede. Ouattara declared victory. Two presidents, one nation. Civil war erupted. Eventually, French troops, yes, French troops, operating under a UN mandate, coordinated Gbagbo's arrest. Soldiers stormed Gbagbo's compound, captured him, and eventually flew him to The Hague. For the first time in history, a former head of state was arrested, live on television, and handed to the International Criminal Court. Let me quickly say here something about the International Criminal Court. This court was created to bring justice to the world's worst crimes, yet it has mostly gone after Africans. Case after case, it has turned its gaze on the continent while powerful nations stay untouched. The International Criminal Court must be reformed and given teeth so that it can bite USA, Russia, Israel, and all other powerful countries. Indeed, the court must have teeth that bite equally across the globe. At the ICC, prosecutors accused Gbagbo and Blagode of orchestrating violence to cling to power. But in 2019, both men were acquitted. And in 2021, the acquittal was upheld. Final absolute.
All these reasons, the Chamber, by majority, hereby decides that the prosecutor has failed to satisfy the burden of proof to the requisite standard as foreseen in Article 66 of the Rome Statute. Grants the defense motions for acquittal from all charges against Mr. Laurent Gbagbo and Mr. Charles Blagode. Orders the immediate release of both accused. The hearing is adjourned.
The court ruled that there wasn't enough evidence to prove a coordinated plan to commit crimes against humanity. It was one of ICC's most controversial verdicts, one that reignited debate across Africa. Was this justice served or justice staged? Because while Gbagbo stood trial at The Hague, not a single leader from Ouattara's side faced prosecution, despite documented cases of reprisal killings and human rights abuses by pro-Ouattara forces. The double standard was glaring. It spoke to a deeper problem, a pattern where African justice is outsourced, selective, and political. Even Fatou Bensouda, the Gambian ICC prosecutor at the time, admitted under pressure that her office faced immense challenges collecting evidence inside a polarized Côte d'Ivoire. Let's now gather the 8 characters of this episode. You already know 4. Laurent Gbagbo, the former president. Simone Gbagbo, the first lady turned presidential hopeful. Charles Blagode, Gbagbo's loyal ally and former youth minister. Alassane Ouattara, the incumbent president, now seeking yet another term, a 4th term. To this, let's add 4 more. Just a quick one before I go on. Last year, I wrote a book about historic African leaders like Thomas Sankara, Patrice Lumumba, Julius Nyerere, and of course, Ibrahim Traoré. There are nearly 100 of them in that book. Many of you have already bought the book, and I'm very grateful for that. If you haven't bought it, please head on to Amazon and purchase your copy. Both physical and digital copies are available. Thanks a lot. The 5th character is Felix Houphouët-Boigny, Côte d'Ivoire's founding father. He ruled from independence in 1960 until his death in 1993, 33 years of political dominance under the banner of PDCI, the Democratic Party of Côte d'Ivoire. He was adored by Paris, admired in Washington, and respected by many African presidents as a man of peace and pragmatism. But his peace came at a price: dependence. Houphouët-Boigny tied Côte d'Ivoire's economy tightly to France through the CFA franc, French agribusiness contracts, and the heavy presence of French troops. Houphouët-Boigny tied Côte d'Ivoire's economy tightly to France through the CFA, French agribusiness contracts, and the heavy presence of French troops in the country. Houphouët-Boigny was, in fact, the one who coined the term Françafrique, originally meant to describe the close, friendly ties between France and its former colonies. Ironically, the phrase would later come to symbolize the very system of dependency and neocolonial influence that it helped entrench. revealing just how deeply wedded to France he really was. The current president is his ideological disciple. That's why France fought ferociously for him and against Gbagbo during the 2010-2011 civil unrest. Ouattara inherited Houphouët-Boigny's economic liberalism and pro-French alignment and built on it with a technocratic polish. Under him, Côte d'Ivoire's GDP growth averaged 7% per year between 2012 and 2022, one of the fastest in Africa. But beneath that prosperity lies inequality. According to the African Development Bank, nearly 40% of Ivorians still live below the poverty line. Millions of youth remain unemployed or underemployed. So, who has benefited from the economic boom? A connected elite or the people? Our sixth character is Tijane Thiam, Houphouët-Boigny's grand-nephew, and the current leader of the PDCI, educated at École Polytechnique and former CEO of Credit Suisse. Thiam represents the return of the Ivorian elite in global suits, fluent in French, finance, and diplomacy. Yet, ironically, this hair has been barred from running in the elections due to citizenship technicalities, a move widely criticized as political. So once again, Ivorians face the illusion of choice. Old faces, same families, recycled promises. And then there's Didier Drogba, the footballer who became a bridge between war and peace. In 2005, after Ivory Coast qualified for the World Cup, Drogba did something extraordinary. He dropped to his knees on live television and begged his countrymen to stop the war. His words carried more power than bullets. Rebel fighters and government troops paused. By 2007, a ceasefire held. When Drogba led the national team to Bwakali, the rebel stronghold, for a symbolic march, the crowd went. Football, for one afternoon, replaced politics. It proved that peace doesn't always come from palaces or parliaments. Sometimes it comes from people who dare to care. And that brings us to the eighth and most important character. You, yes, you, the people, Ivorians, Nigerians, South Africans, Burkinabe, Kenyans, Africans, citizens, revolutionaries, dreamers. Because this story, this moment, isn't just about politicians and power struggles. It's about what happens when citizens either rise or retreat. Didier Drogba didn't wait for permission. He used what he had, his voice, his fame, his platform, his courage to heal his homeland. What about you? If you're from Cote d'Ivoire, your vote isn't a ritual, it's a verdict. Use it well. Don't vote for the biggest name, but for the biggest vision. Don't vote for the richest campaigner, but for the reformer with a track record. Vote for the transformative leaders, not for cunning, deceptive politicians. Cote d'Ivoire's election mirrors governance in Africa. Across the continent, 78% of young Africans believe that elections change nothing. But until we figure out a more revolutionary, Afrocentric form of governance, I urge you all to turn the ballot box into an ally, into a means of delivering transformative leadership to the people. Today, Africa is counting on you. Yes, you. To awaken, unite, and transform Africa. To the great people of Cote d'Ivoire, keep this deep question in your mind. Will Côte d'Ivoire remain a polished colony of foreign interests, or will it finally write its own script? Let's go back one last time to this moment. Gbagbo's arrest live on television. Cameras zoomed in. He looked dazed, exhausted, beaten, but defiant. That was not just the fall of one man, it was the fall of the illusion that African sovereignty is complete. And that's why this moment matters, because it forces every African to ask the question, who truly governs us? The ballots that we cast or the powers behind them? As Ivorians head to the polls, the world is watching. Paris, Washington, Beijing, and other countries. Because Cote d'Ivoire is the world's top cocoa producer, the fastest growing francophone economy, and the spiritual capital of Françafrique. Cote d'Ivoire can dismantle Françafrique once and for all if Ivorians vote for peace, accountability, and reform. It won't just heal their nation, it will send shockwaves across Africa. A message that Africa's destiny no longer belongs to the same families, the same sponsors, or the same signatures from the West or East. Africa belongs to the people, to you. Ivory Coast is bigger than its presidents. Africa is bigger than its politicians. And you are bigger than your fears. So awaken, unite, and transform Africa. Because this moment right here is not just history repeating itself, it is history waiting for a rewrite. Peace. My name is DJ Bwakali, and Africa is my superpower.